I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Salty and Ghosty. More essentials for Essential Week.
We're trudging through Essentials Week, where we listen to the essential songs from the essential bands of metal so that we can get our metal credentials.
Listen, I'm just going to say this. What do they say? The thoughts and opinions expressed on this film are not those of the producer or whatever. This is my opinion and mine alone. I do not know what essentials are, and I am trusting a group of people to bring us actual essentials. So if somebody's lying to me and one of these videos gets very, very low reviews because it's not an essential, you will be hearing from me. And so don't come after us in the comments section.
And you can come after us.
But we'll forward your messages to and don't be mad at me.
This is Perce de Lumière. What is that?
I don't know. It sounds
Perception
French.
of light. Yeah, it's French. Aren't you French?
Yeah, but nobody spoke French around me. No, they didn't want to teach me.
You always have an excuse.
They
you
only
don't know
used it
Cherokee.
when they
You're
didn't want us to know.
supposedly a Cherokee. You don't know anything.
I never said I was a Cherokee.
You're such a... Come on. All right.
Passamaquoddy
For
and
timely,
Penobscot.
topical, political conversation, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you want one of the specifically designed, Vin-designed Sori secret shirt, you can get it under the thingamajiggy. You can visit our Teespring shop.
Link is also in the description.
Link is also in the description. Okay, this is Alcest or All Chest. It could be All Chest, it could be Alcest. I'm going to say All Chest. I like that better than Alcest.
There's not a H. Alright.
All right.
Ready?
Well, if it's of Dutch origin, the CE becomes a ch.
Oh.
So it could be All Chest. All right, you ready?
Go.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much, guys. So, I fear that this is the last song for tonight. Or maybe not, we will see. Maybe one or two more, we'll see. Okay.
They love doing that.
Yeah. He pretended as if he was gonna go
Yep.
further. That's for you, buddy.
Yep.
I know you know
the
what we're talking
reference.
about. Okay, so this is one of those songs. I know immediately what people are gonna say.
What?
They're gonna say you should not have listened to the live version.
Oh, yeah.
Now we, dear listener, did not select this video, but I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I think if we heard the live version, we would like the song a lot more. I like the song, period, but I think we would have liked it a lot more if we could hear the live version.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the atmosphere,
Yeah.
I guess this is called, I looked them up to see if they were, this is called Black Gaze. I guess it's a combination of black metal and shoegaze metal. Which I don't know what shoegaze
I was
metal
gonna
is
say,
per se.
I've
but
never heard anybody say shoegaze before.
I think I heard BM Fan say it. BM Fan is like, he's like an encyclopedia of metal.
Oh,
So, he's mentioned it before, but anyway. So I think these guys originally started as a black metal band and then they made it over to shoegaze. I'm not sure. But
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I still think that when I'm watching a live video, I have that in the back of my head. This was an open, area where they had to create the best sound possible.
Right.
And there's no way to really be able to prepare for that because you don't know how many people are going to show up, how packed it's going to be, how loud the crowd is going to be, the density of the crowd is going to affect the sound waves. There's so many variables in this type of situation. So obviously they do the best that they can, but I know that this would have been better in the studio sound-wise, but I could still get a good feel for the song.
yeah, you still get a good idea of where they're going and what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. I just think it would have been more,
Well, a lot of
pronounced.
times you say you like the live shows, so that's probably why they picked it.
Yeah. They seem to really thoroughly be enjoying their music.
Yeah.
Remember that time don't even ask us, we're not going to tell you. There was this band, and I was like, man, this dude looks depressed, and he looked bored and disinterested. I was like,
I'll tell you what, that doesn't make me feel excited about your band.
well, if I was in his band, I would feel the same way though.
Yep.
The band that they were in, the band that he was in,
Absolutely.
I'd feel the same way. I just, it's weird because you think to yourself like, oh man, it'd be great. I would quit that band if I was that guy. Seriously, like you're not happy. Go find something that makes you happy. Obviously, being in that band did not fulfill this guy.
It's not working for you. You know, my meme, when we used to go into some stores, my meme was French, and we'd go into some stores.
She was
and
French, but Sori doesn't know a lick of the language.
They didn't
So
speak
there's
it about
that.
me unless they were telling each other something.
Yeah.
But they did it not
She's
enough
also
to learn.
Cherokee. Go ahead,
I
continue.
never said Cherokee. Anyway, we'd go into the store, and if the cashier was like moody or whatever, I'd see my meme would start looking at her. Hey, you don't like your job, huh? Why don't you get another one if you don't like your job, huh?
She'd say that?
Hey, her. She'd tap on me. Hey, her. She don't like her job. That's why she's being a bitch like that, huh?
She'd
She'd say all that. And I'd be sitting there like, sometimes I thought it was funny, and then I started hitting an age where I'm like, my gosh, man, you're embarrassing me.
How do you...
But it just reminded me when you said, I'd quit the band. So sometimes when I see them like strumming away, hey, you don't like your band, huh? Get out of it.
Hey, him, he...
Hey, and you don't like playing in this band.
That is hilarious to me. She would be loud like that?
Oh,
So, like,
yeah.
What would the person say?
They looked at her shocked, and sometimes I say, well, no, I like my job. No, you don't like your... Hey, she don't like her job. She'd look around at the other people like, hey, isn't that awful? Look at this girl now. Everybody look at her. Shame her. She loved doing stuff like that.
Her and my mom would have got along great.
Yeah, when you told me some of the stuff that your mom did in a store,
My mom had no issues with blitzing you in
Nope.
public, fam.
Meme didn't either.
She had no issues whatsoever.
Nope.
For any reason, not at all.
Nope.
She was gonna blitz you, she didn't care. But these guys looked like they thoroughly enjoyed what they were doing. And I appreciate that.
Cool.
Maybe we can go to Genius and get those lyrics up, huh?
Sure. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean,
What? What do you mean you
when
hear
they
what I'm
when
saying?
they thoroughly enjoy what they're doing, it's just great because
Oh, I got it back. Don't worry about it. Okay, so this is what the lyrics are. At the edge of the wave, the intense heat from the sun intoxicates me. I drink in his light and leaves.
it's fiery rain.
I drink in his light and leaves its fiery rays. I think that's probably that leaves there is probably in this translation. Shaping my limbs to give me a second birth. Up there, a sky without clouds, stunningly blue, merges with the sea. Drunk off light, I now have the impression, no more walking on your floor. From my, and hear the screams from my non-human soul imploring his release. That's probably its release. Okay, so there's a lot of things about nature a lot of times I discover with black metal bands.
Yeah. Yep.
And I do think that there's something, what was that song? It was the,
Mother Earth.
I want to burn to death like the sun.
Oh, the one we just listened to recently.
Yeah, it's your band,
Pain of Salvation.
Pain of Salvation, where he used that line. It is very, very interesting. Like, I remember one time I was out in the woods, and I just looked around, and it was just like a crazy moment. I showed you that video with the crazy environmentalists, right, when they were talking about, like, hugging the trees, and they were apologizing to the trees. I want to mourn for the trees! And then they went, oh! And on the one hand, it was hilarious. But on the other hand, you know, she was saying, you know, bring me to this cathedral, da-da-da-da. Bring me to this church, you know, and she was talking about the woods. That I thought was very beautiful and poetic. But the apologizing to the tree thing I thought was very strange. Trees are inanimate, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know. You can't really say definitively, but as far as we know, they're inanimate. But anyway.
Well, I mean, I can roll if they're on. I mean, it was a little much, but at the same time, anytime that they clear cut, I always feel sick to my stomach. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It has a real.
Yeah, but how do you think your highway is?
I understand that, but it's already done.
I mean, these people
But
drove
when
on
I see an area-
These people drove on a highway to go protest clear cutting, and nobody sees the irony there.
Well, I mean, the damage is already done.
And it's very convenient.
I mean, we went to speak about the evil practice of abortion with our vaccinated kids. And the MMR one, vaccination, comes from, like, the original one came from an aborted fetus. One of those, I think it was MMR. I'm pretty sure it was. What? Measles,
Yeah.
mumps, and rubella? Yeah, it came from...
Did you
research
verify that? Or
Yeah.
what was your source?
Well, I don't... I never I researched it a long time ago.
Okay.
And there was, I'll tell you what, I asked the doctor, like, when I brought Selah for her vaccination, and they said yes. And there was a phone number that you could call to protest it, but it was like...
To protest
They don't
what?
keep using the aborted babies, it's just it was one, and then... remember we had that conversation?
I don't even know how that would happen. We can talk about that offline. Let's keep going with this song. The intense heat of the sun. Actually, the sun can literally... you can get sunstroke. Sun poisoning, I think they called it. I literally believe that
From
you
what?
can get sun poison from... I mean,
Yeah, of
it would be
course.
sun poisoning.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about poisoning per se, not sunstroke. Sun poisoning. Yeah, right there. Sun poisoning.
What does it do? That's
So,
different than sun...
Sun poisoning refers to a case of severe sunburn. It occurs after you've been exposed to ultraviolet rays from the sun for an extended period of time. Also known as polymorphic light eruption, sun poisoning can come in different forms based on your sensitivity to the sun, or if you don't have melanin.
Babe.
Time for you to be offended. So it's in you know. Have you ever been like in a really, you know, I used to live in Florida, but have you ever been in like a really hot, like, environment when it was like hot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not like I'm uncomfortable, sweaty hot, but like hot as in like I feel like I'm being burned.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that in Florida. I used to stand right in the middle of my yard and look up right into the sun but I would keep my eyes closed, obviously. And I would just,
Feel like you were baking.
yeah, and I used to test myself to see how long I would be able to stand there in that situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And I threw up one time. Yeah, threw up.
I was like, I mean, I did stuff like that, but it never pushed it to that point.
Yeah, and I remember telling him, I used to talk to
Totally
myself.
unexpected. You don't understand how Vin is. He's very grossed out by
I
things.
am. It was a very
He doesn't
disgusting-
talk about any
It's
bodily
very
things,
dis-
so I
it
can't
was
believe
very
you just
disgusting.
said that.
And I remember telling myself, like, you have to keep going. For what reason, I have no idea. I was not trying out.
Keep going.
I wasn't trying. I used to do stuff like that to myself as a kid. I'd
Yeah.
put myself in these horrible situations or painful situations, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, ah,
We used
go
to
with
call
it.
them goals. Me and my
Like,
cousin did the same thing.
I'd always say, stand the pain. That's what I used to say all the time. Stand the pain.
Stand
and
the
then one
pain.
time, like Jamie, like he fell off of his skateboard and he was really hurt. His elbow was all banged up. I was like, stand the pain. And he was like, no.
Oh.
So I'm sitting
That's
there
his baby
and like
brother.
I puked. Blah. And I was like, okay, it's time to go in. I'm like, well, I don't have a problem with the sun per se. It's just I feel really gross and da-da-da. And then I told myself, no, that's part of it. Because you wouldn't be gross if it wasn't for the sun. And I was like, shit, you're right. So then I went back and looked up at the sun, and I was like puking and sweating, and finally my mom rescued me.
What did you say?
What do you do, Vincent? Come into the house! Immediately! Lord Jesus! And I basically said, well,
I have to listen to
it's
my mom.
So I staggered into the house. I mean, I couldn't open my eyes.
Lord
And I
Jesus.
puke all over me. She said, get in the bath. She threw me in the bathtub. Yeah, I didn't get sunburned though. But I was extremely like my temperature.
Oh, man.
She took my temperature and like she made me drink all this salt water. I don't know why, but
Oh, because she
I felt better after
dehydrated?
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I drank a lot of salt
Your
water.
body needs salt to absorb the water or something like that. Like if you're all sweated all out. That's why the electrolytes and the
It's one of
sodium.
those things where like I could tell she was mad at me,
Yeah.
but I was in trouble.
Yeah.
So she was
She
like,
couldn't be.
Yeah, she was like, she just kept saying how stupid boy, stupid and stupid. She just kept, and then she'd check on me. You need some Kool-Aid, yeah?
You need some Kool-Aid.
Yeah, stupid. Yeah. Anyway, that's
You know, one time,
that's what he was talking about.
you
the
know,
sun
you know
top.
my brother-in-law, how he's almost an albino.
Your brother-in-law? Oh, yeah.
He's almost an albino. He's not, but he's almost. Like, he's very, 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 very white with very pale hair. Everything about him is very pale. And there was a day everybody was working on the roof at his house. And so when people were there to work, it was a hot day. And he's not good in the sun. Like, he gets these migraines and stuff like that. He's just like that. The fair people, they have a very hard time in the sun. He
I
was
know.
working on this roof. And he started throwing up again because of the heat, like what you did. And then I think he started falling off the side of the roof, and somebody grabbed him and they told him, go inside. And so he came in and he got thrown in the shower. He was all, he didn't know what way he was up, and it was like he was, I don't know, there was something weird, like he thought he was an elf or something. I don't remember what it was, but he was like hallucinating.
Right.
Something was really, really bad. The heat was really got to him. I actually felt bad for him. He got massive, massive headache. Oh
yeah. And then it's terrible. My best friend Tristan, he'd get these headaches in the sun, and we'd be playing baseball. He was the best player in the team. He was the best player, period.
Yeah.
Like in the league, in my opinion. He was the one that taught me how to play baseball, but he only had one weakness, and that was he would get these migraines in the heat. So there we'd be playing. There was this one team we could not beat. Freaking! We were the Pirates. Son of a bitch. To this day, it was the only team we couldn't beat, and
They were just better
not.
than
They
you.
were not even that good. No, I'm being honest with you. They really weren't good. But
Then how were they beating
they'd
you?
always be this blue play or something. So one time we had him. We had a very good lead. Things were going swimmingly, and then Tristan went down because of the heat.
That must have been so annoying.
Oh my, you have no idea. I'm like, oh Tris, man, like, he's like, oh yeah, I can do it, da 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 da. And everybody was trying to get him something to drink and cold water and, da 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 da. And blanket
Too
and
late.
stuff, and
Blanket.
you know, he'd soak a blanket in water and put it over his head.
Oh, towel.
Yeah, a towel. Soak a towel in water and put it over his head. You know, press it into his eyes because that's
Yeah.
where
Yeah. Nah.
he was done. And we were like, I was like, that's okay. We're gonna do this without Tristan. And everybody was like, Shaw. I went up there. We lost to the freaking part, and I had freaking third period with that kid, and he was so fat, and he was a slow base runner and everything, and like I had to hear his bullshit. I'm surprised. I'm surprised I didn't hit that kid or something.
Yeah.
Because I was 7th grade, like
Yeah.
I was a pretty, you know, but I was just so angry. I was just like, oh my gosh.
You remember that guy that would always say how much better than he was at basketball than you?
Oh,
And
yeah,
I could have beat him in basketball.
yeah. And then you said no mercy.
Yeah.
When I went to play him, you were like, no mercy, Vin. I did.
I was so sick of hearing him tell
I left him at 0.
He literally was always saying how he was so much better than Vin. Now, obviously, Vin's my favorite, so I do feel like that Vin is superior in many things. But this thing was like, obviously, Vin was better in it. It was obvious. But this guy was always talking shit all the time, how good he was. And then when they finally were gonna play, I was like, no mercy.
She said no.
Because if you give him any mercy at all, then he's gonna be like, yeah, but it was neck to neck, bro. I'm like, no mercy.
I left him at 0.
Why'd you listen to me?
Just give him that mid-range. Well, I never really took him seriously, but I could tell you were really annoyed with him.
Oh, I was so annoyed. It was the other night he was playing Madden, and his controller was like jacked up. So instead of his player running in the correct direction, he was turning around and running the other way, which obviously nobody's gonna do that. So he asked the guy for a friendly quit, and the guy wouldn't do it. So Vin was like, yeah? So he went back in there, and he played his heart out, and he beat them.
Beat him.
Yes.
I just completely switched up my
I was
style.
so glad. I'm like, my petty's up on 10.
What
I was
a
like,
bitch.
when you came and
Yeah.
told me, and then you said, I was so angry, and then you told me, but then I went back and beat him. I'm like, yes!
Yeah, I just switched up my style. I went from running the whole time to passing the whole time. Because basically, catch the ball and get out of bounds. That's the only way I could work it around the controller. Controls in my house keep getting broken for some reason. It's never anybody's fault, though. Okay. Now, since we've done that completely all over the place review, what do you give the song?
I'd go with an 8.9.
I think it's a 9.4. This probably actually would have been a 10 for me if I could have heard the studio version.
That's on you, bro.
But that's on you, sir.
I don't even know who it's on. What's on you?
Then out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.
Everybody's gonna hate us.